earbuds.
Go right ahead. I'll just keep I'll keep it going. I'll talk to people while you do that.
Right? It eliminates the feedback thing.
You got it. You go
32
do
seconds.
that.
Okay.
No problem. Hi, Facebook. Welcome to Comic Spot. Kick back in your living room or your office, wherever you're at, and just relax and enjoy the show. Comic Spot was brought to you in your home where you might have your clothes on so that you can get to know comedians and entertainers off stage behind their masks. And I came up with that before the pandemic. So the pandemic is a big hack of my saying. Yeah. So the thing is that there he is. There's our guest of the day trying to sneak by. Yeah, he's not wearing camouflage, so we saw him. There he goes again. Nice tush. So the thing is that Comic Spot is for you to sit back, relax, enjoy the show. You know my style. This is as if I sat down at a coffee bar next to somebody and found out he's a comedian, and I want to know everything about his early life that he wants to share, all the way up through today, and what his goals are for the future, and any kind of legacy he wants to leave the world, and things he'd like to see change, that he thinks he can change. And that's your way of getting to know him. So you'll want to go to his shows, see him when he's performing around the world. Yeah, that's what I said, around the world. So without any further ado, because I don't like French, I'm going to introduce you to who we have today, right as soon as I talk about my sponsor. Now listen, people, I'm a military veteran. Yeah, I was in the Army, and I'm a proud veteran, and I'm a proud member of the Veterans of Comedy, who is my one sponsor at this time. So anytime you want to have a show where military people come and do military jokes and other kinds of jokes, go on over to veteransofcomedy.com and look at the amazing lineup. You might see a 70-year-old lady there that you want to hire, and that's okay with me. But for now, the purpose of this show is to highlight the person in the other square. Yeah, we're going to make him king for a day. Him. Yes, sirree, Bob. Let me tell you his name. It looks like it's Shawn Eiferman. That's what the paper says I got in front of me. Now I get to read his intro to you. Yes, I do. I love intros because they're always in the third person and it cracks me up. But I also like them because they tell you who he is in a snapshot. So here we go. Shawn Eiferman. You can get it off ShawnEiferman.com. His 35 years of playing music. Did you hear what I just said? His 35 years of playing music, singing, telling jokes, and keeping people entertained from all walks of life and from all over the world is why he will be the perfect entertainment solution for your event. That's correct. And then it goes into other things. Let me go a little more personally into his past. He's played over 100,000. His music has been played over 100,000 times at Mix 94 FM, IFM's Bite of Las Vegas, and KKLZ's June Fest Music Festival, sharing the stage with Journey, Bad Company, Macy Gray, Frankie Perez, Wilshire, Uncle Cracker, etc. Have you ever heard of etc.? Oh my gosh, they're the bomb.
They're big in Belgium.
First place winner in the 2001 USA Songwriting Contest rock category. Second place overall. In Music Magazine, it calls him an all-around hip musician and sinester with an extensive repertoire, I hate French, and dynamic stage presence. Catch this guitar playing, joke cracking, rock and roll singing, incredibly talented wild man before he makes it big. I think he's already made it big. Eiferman brings a sense of humor and breezy, competent style to his stage. His songwriting is an honest collection of work that puts him above the average entertainer. Featured in Gig, funkiest right hand of any white man in America, LA Weekly, and Music Connection magazines, being compared to everyone from Dave Matthews, Tonic, and Hootie and the Blowfish to Springsteen and Bob Seger. These are people I know. I just don't know how to pronounce them.
It's French.
What?
It's French.
He's opened for Prince, performed with and or opened for Prince, Edwin McCain, Hootie and the Blowfish, Soul Asylum, Sugar Ray, Bare Naked Ladies, Cole Swindle, and the Violent Femmes. I don't think I was in that group. Sister Hazel, Lee Bryce, and Paula Cole. OMG. You can hire him. You can text him. You can write him. Go to Shawn Favor. Wait a minute. www.singwithshawn.com.
Oh, yeah.
Or ShawnEiferman.com, I think, too. Isn't that what you said?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, welcome to this tiny little stage, the big talent, the hugely accomplished performer of Shawn Eiferman. Welcome. Woo!
Hey, well, thank you very much. That was
God, thank you for coming here, Shawn.
my pleasure. My pleasure.
You're in
Best way I can think of to, just spend a Thursday afternoon.
That's right. What's better than this on a Thursday?
Yeah.
It's better than giving pablum to Papa Dodak at the senior home I started out in my career with. So he wanted pablum on Thursday. This is a lot better. What kind of dog is that?
That depends on which one you see running around here. We've got 3 of them. We've got the small, medium, and large. We've got so that's Stitch. That's the medium. There's Lulu. I don't know if you can see Lulu. Lulu.
Hi, Lulu.
There's Lou.
Hi, Lou.
And then we got a little white fluffy one running around named Jack. We got small, medium, and large.
Very cool. Very cool indeed.
House isn't a home without puppy dogs running around.
That's right. It's not a home without a pet, especially dogs. They make such a great home.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. What's your favorite type of dog, Shawn?
Oh, that's like asking, who's your favorite kid?
Yes.
Which I have a favorite kid, actually, but you're not supposed to ask that, and you're definitely not supposed to answer it. So I'm going to plead the 5th on both of those questions.
Okay, super.
That's safe.
Well, yes. So I see that my light isn't on. Just one little second.
Wait for it. We're going to clap.
That's what I really
there she is.
There I am. Now I can see myself. Oh, Lordy, I have to look at myself. Who invented this, Shawn? This is punishment.
Genius. Genius.
Oh my gosh. So let's talk about little baby Shawn. Where did you grow up? Where were you born?
Ironically enough, I'm kind of a dual citizen. I spent a lot of time, I say that I'm born and raised in Las Vegas because I've been in Vegas forever. I've had family here since the 50s.
Wow.
So I've had roots and family and spent the vast majority of my life living in Las Vegas, which I bring up first because it really has created that whole resume bio thing that you just read off is really got very little to do. I'm not trying to be humble, but it's got very little to do with my talent level or whatever. Vegas is the Mecca. If anybody wants to be a professional working musician / entertainer, I honestly believe that if I lived in Missouri or Arizona or anywhere else in the country, in the States, I'd be selling real estate or a bartender or something. It's Vegas is responsible for the majority of my career. So luckily, really it is. It's just a luck of the draw. My father had the first 24-hour gym in the country. My dad was a big bodybuilder, Hall of Fame, Mr. America, Mr. Universe, musclehead guy.
What? Oh my gosh, you have no idea about my history. We got to talk.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, my dad was George Eiferman. So George Eiferman was, Hall of Fame bodybuilder, which obviously I didn't follow in those footsteps. I always say, you know, I can't bench 350 pounds and my dad couldn't write a song. So we both happy and healthy and good stuff. But yeah, so I mean, that's really the reason, that's the foundation of Vegas for me. Again, the first 24-hour gym in the country for my dad was over by the Showboat off Boulder Highway back in 1958. So we've been here for a long time. I was born in 69. And then I ended up all my high school years, I think 6th or 7th grade, all the way through high school, was mostly in Bellingham, Washington.
Oh, I
All
raised
the
my
way up
daughter
Pacific
in Renton.
Northwest. Loved it, just loved it. But I got to be bi-coastal. Like every break was either, you know, summer break, winter break, all of spring break, all that stuff was always here in Vegas to visit my dad. And then all the other times was up in Bellingham.
Okay.
And
That's a military town.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow, I was too busy doing other things. I didn't know that.
Big Navy place.
Oh, that's cool. I know it's, you know, that Bellingham Bay is an interesting little hub. Anyway, I loved it up there. I loved it here. I ended up, you know, a couple of years of college in Northridge, California at CSUN. I ended up my whole sophomore year in high school, junior year, my whole junior year in high school. I don't remember. Anyway, 14 and 15 years of age, I lived in London. I got to go to school abroad. It was very, very cool to be in Europe at that age. And that's it. So you're asking about like baby Shawn and all that. That's everything all the way up to college, you know. And then my 3rd and 4th year of college, I transferred here to UNLV and started playing music full time, and have been doing that and living here, raised kids, all of the above, here in Vegas since 1989, moving forward till now, whatever year this is.
So am I correct in hearing that entertaining has been your entire adult life?
Yeah.
How come are you so humble about it? You're so accomplished.
I appreciate hearing that. I don't think there's a lot of room for humility in this industry. So for anybody to feel that anybody is humble, is like truly humble, it's always funny when somebody's accepting $1 million and a Grammy or an Oscar. They're like, oh, I'm so humbled by this, by everybody telling me that I'm the best in the world at something. That's not very humbling. Man, yeah, I guess I appreciate that. I have been surrounded by, as you mentioned in my bio, I mean, some of the most talented people in the world. I've been able to share the stage with people like Prince, all the way to, you know, Hootie and the Blowfish or whatever. That's a pretty wide range of people. And I think that's what got me where I am in my headspace, which is that we're all just people, you know. I mean, I don't know if Prince is, he's a bit of an alien. But you know what I mean?
Yes,
in a good way, in a really, really good way. I don't want to get hate mail from Prince fans. You want to find a bigger supporter, lover. I'm a massive, massive Prince fan. So I don't know. I think if I really had to think about the answer to that question, Linda, it's this. I have been a working professional musician, entertainer, whatever, in Las Vegas. I've always been the bridesmaid. So I think if there's any humility that comes from that, which again is a rare assessment of my persona and personality and everything, I appreciate you saying it, but always being the bridesmaid makes it, you know, a little bit of a smaller ego, head swelling.
Yes.
I'm happy to be that. Like, I always joke that I'm $1 billion shy of being a billionaire. And
wow.
And the whole Grammy thing and whatever, you know, that kind of success. Mm-hmm. I know people that are touring right now that are in, you know, massive bands and, you know, have played arenas and the Super Bowl and things like that. And they're all, you know, the same as me. We're all just, you know, you book the show, you play the show, and then you get paid for the show, and you do the things that all surround the show, no matter what that is. And I think that's been a different paradigm for me, is realizing that we kind of all do the same thing, but being a working professional musician in Vegas creates a reliability and a responsibility towards, dressing right and having reliable equipment and showing up on time. And all of that makes it very, almost like a military background.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't have the discipline of a soldier, but I treat the business that I'm in very similarly, I think.
Yes. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks.
So when you were growing up, like in grade school and high school, did your friends know you were going to become this accomplished? Did you show signs of being driven among your friends? Or were you afraid to show that?
Yeah, I mean, I was a jock. I was an athlete on top of things. So, I mean,
What sports?
all of them.
Wow,
I
that's
think
cool.
from my dad's background and whatever, and just being athletic and always exercising and working out and stuff, and then wanting to do more than just push weights around. I got interested in all of them, baseball and football, and I didn't wrestle. I think wrestling is the only sport at Seaholm High School in Bellingham, Washington, that I did not participate in, all the other sports. And so you take that along with the music stuff, and I was, I think everybody knew that I was involved in all of the things. I don't know if anybody had a crystal ball, to think that I would be doing what I'm doing at any level at this point in time. I'm sure my guidance counselor, my high school counselor probably didn't take a look at everything that I was doing and was going to say, in 35 years, you're going to be a working professional musician in the entertainment capital of the world.
Yes.
I think that counselor probably said, hey, maybe you should get better grades or what. I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, I was in bands. I was playing music professionally at 14. At 15 years of age, I already knew that I didn't necessarily want a day job. I was psychologically unemployable at a very young age.
Explain that theory to me. What does that mean?
I don't do well with the whole set schedule, inventory, having a boss tell you when you can take a coffee break. I don't think I've ever been in the mindset of having that as a day-to-day lifestyle, exchanging time for money, punch a clock type of job. No offense to people that do that. I think it's honorable and a great way to make a living.
Yes.
It just wasn't right for me. I got introduced to the idea of I can sing a song, and somebody, it happened in England. It happened at Baker Street Station in London when I was 14 years old.
Tell me about that.
It's a great story.
Okay, I'm ready. I got time.
Yeah.
I'm retired. I got till 5 o'clock.
I got time. I was walking out of Baker Street Station in my school uniform with the tie and the whole 9 yards. And there was a young lady with the guitar case opened up, busking like a street performer. And I went to go pull some money out of my pocket to throw a couple of coins in her guitar case, and a guitar pick had fallen out. She saw the guitar pick and she goes, do you play? And I go, a little bit. I was terrible at 14, terrible. However, she had to go to the restroom. So she saw the pick and she goes, well, here. And she takes her guitar off and she hands me her guitar and she goes, play for a couple of minutes, watch my stuff. I'll be back in a flush. I'll be back in a minute.
In a flush.
So back in a flush. So there you go. So that started the whole thing. And she came back and she watched me butcher the song that I was playing. And she goes, hey, if you got a guitar, come back. I'm here 3 or 4 days a week. And we exchanged information. And all of a sudden that became a duo. For like 6 months, I actually made, money at 14, 15 years of age. And being in London, doing what I was doing, created some interesting, also like anchors and paradigm shifts. That started off the first time I was ever able to actually play music. Somebody would, put money in the guitar case. We would split that money and I would go pay for our lunch. With that money is, a sing for your supper sort of mindset at that young age, created a bit of a business mindset, or like I could actually do this for a living versus like go get a job. And that's a biggie. That was a biggie. Yeah. So that's what that all looked like. And then it kind of sucks. Actually, I've told the story a few times and it's weird. There wasn't Facebook. There wasn't, cell phones. I didn't have a way to, to this day, I don't have a way to reach out to that girl and say, thank you for planting that seed. It kind of sucks. Like it's a weird, you don't think about the 80s being such a restrictive thing for certain things.
Yes.
But unfortunately, I mean, thank goodness for that girl and her small bladder. We would not be having this conversation without it. So that changed a lot. And then just being in England, in London, and I got to go to Wembley Stadium for a handful of things. I got to see Live Aid. I was at Live Aid, the Live Aid with Freddie Mercury and Queen and U2 and all that stuff. I got to see Springsteen, Born in the USA tour at Wembley Stadium.
Gosh.
Game changer, total, if there's ever been a moment where you're like, I want to do that. Being an American living in London, in 85 and seeing that thing unfold, is both of those things were huge aha moments for me at 14, 15 years of age.
Wow. So that planted a seed inside of you to go big or go home.
Yeah, well, it definitely, so those two things, and then the same thing, I think, for every guy that's ever picked up a guitar. There were three things. There was Springsteen, that Born in the USA tour at Wembley, Live Aid, and then, there was a girl that said, if you sing me songs, I'll touch your wiener or whatever. I don't remember the exact quote, but that motivation, that inspiration from that particular girl at 15 years of age, a very specific woman, that led me to, she just wanted me to, walk around the house strumming a guitar and singing to her. Jeez. And at 15, that's motivation to get better.
Bigot,
so that was it. Those three things.
Okay, I got a couple quick questions. I like to throw them out in pairs of twos.
Okay.
So, biggest accomplishment, biggest regret.
Ooh. Interesting. So we do that at the dinner table for our conversation starters every night when we sit down at the family dinner table. We play the high-low game, and it's the highlight of your day, the low light of your day, and what we learned that day. You try and learn something every single day. So let's see. My biggest accomplishment. My biggest accomplishment is probably different than my highlight, like the game, the high-low game. Mm-hmm. So I don't know which one you want. Maybe I'll give you both because it's quick. So the highlight for me is definitely getting on stage and singing with Prince. That was the most random thing ever. And the fact that he was, open enough and cool enough to have some random dude in the audience come up and sing with him is not really a thing that he's famous for doing. And so that meant a lot and was truly like an out-of-body experience. Eddie Murphy was 15 feet in front of the stage in a booth, and the band at the time was this exceptional. It was just a crazy, really, like if I see it in my mind's eye right now, it's a out-of-body thing where I can see the front of the stage. I can actually see the drummer behind me, like sort of thing, even though the drummer was behind me. It's magical. It's a very cool, crazy thing to get up and sing, play that funky music, White Boy, with Prince and his band.
Is that the song you played?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that song.
I guess I got to clarify that. So so a buddy of mine named Gino Lapinto owned the Empire Ballroom, which is this cool little venue off on the Strip. Prince had booked a residency here in Vegas at the Rio and was doing rehearsal shows to like 250 people, like this tiny little great situation. So in preparation for the Rio residency. So out of nowhere, and it was very much invitation only. Like I said, Eddie Murphy was there, and it was just a cool thing. So Gino calls me and says, hey, you're not going to believe this, but Prince is rehearsing in my venue tonight and tomorrow night. You should get down here. I'll let you get in. So obviously I dropped everything I was doing, and ran down there. I don't know what made me do this, but I printed up a thing that said, can a funky white boy get up and jam with you? Wow. And I just held that sign, like a 13-year-old girl at a Beatles concert back in like, it was just the silliest thing when you think about it. But for a couple hours, while they, it was a show, but it was a rehearsal. So it was a little less all the stuff,
Yeah.
However, so I stood there forever, which also sucks because, he had to turn off all security cameras. There's no footage. Everyone had to put their cell phones in baskets at the door. So there's no footage of it. My girlfriend was there. I've got a handful of friends. DJ Tino, the resident DJ at the Palms, was there, a friend of mine for decades, Tommy. I had all these friends there. And of course, I got off stage and I'm like, you got a picture, right? You got some video, nothing. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, okay. Some of those things just have to be here. Anyway, so a couple hours of me being that silly dude up front with this sign, he finally goes, come on up. And so I jumped up there and I guess because the sign said, can a funky white boy get up and jam with you? He felt it was appropriate to go dum dum bum 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 ba-dum, ba-dum, and the band kicked in and it was, unbelievable. That's a longer version than normal, but that's definitely, I don't know if that's an accomplishment, but it's definitely my highlight of my whole career. I've been on big stages in front of a lot of people. I've done whatever I've done. That intimate thing and being in that presence is truly something that gives me goosebumps just thinking about it, let alone sharing the story. It's really next level. It
is. It gives me goosebumps to hear it.
Oh, cool. Well, there you go.
So in your life, is there anything that you missed an opportunity on? You got sick and missed a tour, you passed up on something, it turned out to be, let's hear it.
Yeah, and you know what's funny about regret or whatever and talking about it, luckily, the thing that you're asking me about is fixable.
Wow.
It's not the one that got away. It's not, all the stuff. I have been a songwriter, blended into my career since day one. I won a couple of, like worldwide big songwriting competitions. And that got me a publishing deal of sorts and placement of TV and film with a couple of my songs. And at the time, my father had just passed away. My marriage had just ended. Like there was a handful of things that were really stressful. And then all of a sudden the band I was in disbanded, broke up. So you put those three things together. And I was so focused on trying to figure out what I was going to do as a father and a handful of things that I didn't pour any gasoline on the fires of being a songwriter. That was a long time ago. That was 2000, 2001, right around there. If I really look at that, now 20 something years later, the one thing that I regret or that it was, I wish I would have done better differently is while I was in that vibration, I really wish that I took a month out of every year and just went to Nashville and wrote songs.
Wow.
I wish I took a handful of other songwriting friends and rented a cabin in Big Bear and just wrote songs. I never, for whatever reason, I mean, I know the excuses. I don't know if there's a reason. I never did that. And so luckily, I can keep writing songs until I'm 1,000 or what.
Yes.
And so I can always remedy that, at any point in my life where all of a sudden I go, all right, I didn't do it back in 2000. It's now might be the time. Maybe it's a better time. I don't know. So that's my only real regret, believe it or not.
Okay.
Like the only real down. I've been very, very lucky. My dad used to say all the time, it's actually on the back of his business cards, I'm a firm believer in luck. I'm a firm believer in luck because the harder I've worked, the luckier I've been.
Wow.
And so I haven't had any real setbacks, any, major challenges or whatever, because I've always just worked. I've always had that work ethic that my dad sort of, whatever got him to be in the shape he was in 1948. He won Mr. America in 1948. So that discipline and that whatever was definitely part of my fabric from an early age. And so, when there are setbacks or whatever, you just keep working. And then the next thing comes up and the next opportunity and the next show and the next collaboration. That's been the
How do you,
difference for me.
how do you deal with, you're in an art industry like comedy, and I
Yeah.
hear you're very funny.
Yeah.
So I know our mutual connection, Lisa Ann, she says you're hilarious. So tell me, in an art industry, it can get competitive, it can get cruel. Sometimes the only thing that is our saving grace is the performing, not the business side. So a lot of people will watch this usually after the fact on my YouTube. So explain to people how you have lasted in a competitive field where it gets nasty.
Well, one part of that, I think I already touched on, which is the reliability factor, the mindset of that I am an artist, but I'm an artist that's in the music business. So I've said this a lot. I go, I don't consider myself a musician. I consider myself someone in the music business. I have contracts. I have, I'm my own agent, my own manager, my own sound engineer, I've done everything myself because I can rely on me. And I think that's been part of it, is that the footprint has been smaller as far as business goes. But I've also, got my hands into everything. So all negotiations, any challenges that pop up, I'm not ignorant, I guess is the best word to use, in all of the other facets. And so what happens to create the poor starving artist, poor starving musician thing is a mindset, because what they've done year after year, after decade, after generation of artists, is they rely on a bunch of other people to handle those things.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so I think having an agent, a record label, a manager, a lawyer, a marketing team, all the other stuff, and having all these other people so that I can just be the artist, to me is lazy, but it's also really irresponsible. And so what happens is those people usually take advantage of that irresponsibility, and that creates so many more of the challenges in regards to the competitive nature. There's nobody competing with me in that space, because I'm one of the only people I know that does that, like all of it for 30 years, for myself, by myself, sort of thing. Now I understand the value of those other things. I don't think anybody can get to a certain level without having representation. I think you can get twice as far if you just have one person that believes in you half as much as you believe in yourself. You could probably springboard into some things. But I've been, thanked year after year after year for keeping things simple. And so competition wise, I've got, the bigger shows that I book or whatever, corporate events with Diamond Resorts, where they've got, huge names on these rosters, from Toby Keith to like big, huge Lee Brice, massive, household names in their genres, and tour buses and blah, blah, and then I show up and we all do the same thing. Competition wise, there's no real competition in regards to the performance and the level of success. They're obviously way past, but for these people that want to work with me, that's what it is. The type of people, somebody at the entertainment director level of Diamond Resorts books me every year, year after year, for dozens of bookings, because I'm just low maintenance.
I love that.
Reliable, and they don't have to deal with all the, all the stuff. They know I'm going to show up on time, have reliable equipment, like all that stuff weeds out a lot of the dipshit musicians.
Well, that's so cool to hear. That you don't have to worry about it. I was in the Army.
Oh, okay. Well, then dipshittery is prevalent in my industry, and I am the I avoid the dipshittery.
So a facet of you is funny. You do comedy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you put funny in your music, right?
Yeah. I think this will probably touch on the competitive question as well. Look,
Okay.
there's a lot of people that sing. There's a lot of people that play guitar. Most of them, and again, I'm not trying to be humble. This is the reality. Most of them do it better than I do.
Wow.
If American Idol and all of those TV shows have proven to everybody that there's a janitor somewhere that sings opera, you know, like Mario Lanza.
Yes.
Like, it's unbelievable. There's a 14-year-old kid that plays guitar. Like, I've been doing it my whole life. I can't pretend to play guitar like that kid. The talent levels are through the roof. And those shows have proven to me that I should just shut up and stay. Like, again, I've watched kids play guitar where I'm like, well, I'm either going to quit because I'll never be that good, or I should really start practicing and taking some lessons to try and up my level. But what happens in the competitive conversation, as well as all of it, really for me, is very few people, this might sound a little not humble,
That's
very
okay.
few people can connect with an audience as well as I can.
Wow.
Very few people. Yeah, I think it is commendable. I don't know why it's so difficult for people, but I have been told I'll give you a couple of quotes. I've been told that I turn any venue into my living room better and faster than anybody.
Wow.
I just turn it into my living room. Like, there's no pretense. I'm not putting on a show. I don't put on eyeliner and, you know, put a cup in my junk to make my junk look big. Like all the show business, silly stuff. I don't do that. And I think there's an integrity and a sincerity that comes with that immediately connects what I do to any audience anywhere in the world.
Wow. That is $1 million. That's worth $1 million.
Yep. I agree.
Or more.
I agree. And so that's a biggie for me.
How do you do that? What is the
Um,
ingredient somebody can go work on to get that?
I don't know. I think I never wanted to be that person. You know, I would see when I was growing up, everyone watched Kiss, and with the makeup and the pyrotechnics. And I just always thought that any level of that was kind of dipshittery. That probably upsets a lot of Kiss fans out there. But, you know, I preferred the sincere, anything from like the James Taylor singer-songwriter type sincerity with an acoustic guitar and a microphone to even, you know, Springsteen. Like that level, you know, that guy turns, you know, 80,000 seat arenas into his living room. There's an immediate connection with an audience that he somehow makes. And there's so many people that do it. At my level, as a working musician here in Vegas, I know for a fact that I do that better than most because I do one other thing really, really well. And that is that I make it about them.
What?
I make it about them. I don't pretend that, you know, you should thank me for letting me share my art with you.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's just, people ask me all the time, hey, what's your favorite song to play? And I go, it's a hard question to answer, but the reality of it is it's different every night in different crowds. My favorite song to play is whatever that one thing is that gets gets things to the next level. Whatever it is. Sometimes it's an original. The other night, ironically enough, it was an original. It's different every night in different rooms with different people. It's also what I love. I don't have a set, you know, I mentioned friends of mine that are on tour that are in, you know, big bands or whatever. You know, playing the same 18 songs every night would drive me nuts. And luckily, what I do, there's some common threads, but for the most part, any given night, I can play musical roulette with the songs in my head and just kind of and stop on a song, whatever hits. And I can play whatever, you know, sometimes I'm challenged. People want to hear stuff I've never even heard before. And I want to, again, make it about them. And I find myself every once in a while on a break, you know, listening on my phone to see if I can learn a song in 2 minutes and go back and play it for them.
Wow.
So that sort of stuff is exciting to me.
How do you I have to ask because
Yeah.
I'm still working on, I'll never quit working on my craft. How do you do an art purely for for the audience? We hear a lot in comedy about it not being about you,
Well,
but we
I
rarely
think
talk about it.
I can answer that question very easily, actually. The art part of it, after 30 plus years, the singing and playing guitar and that part of it for me is so second nature
Mhm.
that I don't have to think about it. I don't have to plan it out. I don't have to have a set list. It just comes naturally, luckily. I think that just comes with so much repetition. And, you know, I've had very few years where I play less than 300 shows a year in a
Wow.
year. So, and again, that's because I dropped my hook where the fish are. That's only because I'm in Las Vegas. And so that's what that boils down to, is the repetition of it and seeing so many people in front of you and realizing that when it's trial and error. I have done it where it's about me and I'm trying to be that person. And every once in a while you look out and you go, hey, why are these people ignoring me? And then you got to navigate and solve that problem. And for me, a lot of the times, this is important, I guess, in your question about comedy,
Mhm.
because so many people play guitar, so many people sing well, all of that thing goes sort of into a category of somebody walking into a room goes, oh, here's another guy with an acoustic guitar and a microphone. Very few people can make a stranger laugh, right? So you can talk to all your comics, your full-time comedians. And I don't think there's anything harder, even when they're going out to a comedy club, to a comedy show, to watch a comic. They know the expectation is that they're going there because they want that release. They want to laugh. But man, it's still hard. There's still a lot of judgment going on there. And it's like, hey, make me laugh. Well, I do it in a very reverse engineered backdoor way. And that is I change up lyrics in songs to be funny or whatever. I do it personally to test the waters. I will change words in songs all the time, sometimes 50, 60 times in an evening, just to see who's paying attention. The spectator sport that is what I do when I sit there and play in any room is to find one or two people that get it, that are actually paying attention, that heard me change the lyric. When I do that, it becomes an aha moment where now I can pour gasoline on that fire, on that couple celebrating their anniversary, on that group over there that's here on a business trip that are, interested in some monkey business along with their business. It's Vegas. So that for me is where the comedy comes in. And then in between songs, it's my living room. So I don't have to just go song to song to song, thank you, here's the next song. I create a conversation with an audience very much on purpose to get a read for the room, but it's never just me like shooting the breeze with the crowd. There's a thread of so many nuggets, or I have so many. This is where my comedy background comes in. I did NACA shows. I did stand-up comedy, by the way, just pure stand-up for probably 8 years. College tour dates back in the 90s, in the early 90s. And so I know what it's like to bomb with just a microphone. I know what it's like when the audience does not want to have that conversation with you. And so I got lucky that I could hybrid that all together with music and try to entertain people, try to connect with people, but also try to make them laugh. And so I just had a moment a long time ago where, man, by myself, if I can get any group of people to dance, sing, I can play guitar, sing songs, and get them to giggle every once in a while, they'll stay in whatever room I'm in from the time I start till the time I stop. And that has been an interesting thing, circling all the way back to your question about competition. This is going to sound cocky. I have no competition.
No, it sounds real. I don't have
when it comes with
competition.
that. I don't know anybody that can combine all of it in this market. There's obviously, I'm not, this top of the food chain guy. In Vegas, there's nobody that does it organically, that loves to do it. I still love to do it. My throat's sore. I've had 9 shows in 7 days. I had 2 doubles this week. Like, my hands are a little sore from playing a lot of guitar. It's work. However, from the time I plug it in the guitar to the time I'm done, I still really, really love to do it. I still love to connect with those people. I love to watch those people laugh and sing and get up and dance. I'm a very lucky, very fortunate, very grateful person to know that not a lot of people get to do what I get to do, where I get to do it.
You're humble, but you're not humble about what you got, which is you're very unique and there's no competition. And that's how we should all strive to be. We should all strive to be the best we can be, where we have no competition because we're unique.
Oh, 100%.
And a lot of people don't try to be unique, and that kind of waters down the industry. So having done comedy 8 years, and so much in the music industry, you must be able to look at a crowd and read it. And I love asking people, who are really have experienced crowds, how specifically do you read a room? Do you change up anything before you go on stage? Do you trust?
No, this is a great question for anybody that wants to a takeaway from this interview. Livingston Taylor. Take notes. Whoever's watching this, go to Amazon and get a book by Livingston Taylor called Stage Performance. You ready? I bet you don't know this. Livingston Taylor is James Taylor's brother.
What?
Livingston Taylor is also the guitar master at Berklee School of Music.
Whoa.
He's a monster guitar player. He wrote a book called Stage Performance based on obviously being the brother of a songwriting icon, performing himself. He's done unbelievable stuff with his own songwriting and performances, but also the experience that he's had 25 plus years of being at Berklee in the position he's in. And this little 100 and something page book is the Bible for what you just asked me.
Okay.
It's, so I didn't just kind of come up with it on my own. I read Livingston's book a long time ago, and I got a chance to meet him, and he shook my hand, and he said, I was playing in a casino with a bunch of stuff going on, people playing craps and screaming, and video poker machines making a bunch of noise. And he said, he wouldn't let go of my hand. He went to go shake my hand, and he's 9 feet tall and wears a bow tie, and he stands out in a crowd. He shakes my hand and he looks me straight in the eye and he goes, silence is the canvas that we paint on as artists.
Whoa.
And he goes, there's no room for your colors here.
Whoa.
He goes, don't ever play here again, ever.
What?
Yeah, it was like talking to Yoda. It was a very powerful moment. And he taught me the power of saying no, of saying, you know what, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to hold off for more money. I'm going to play a venue that's more conducive to what I do. All of those things. Reading his book and getting a chance to meet him and talk to him for a minute was a game changer for me as well. So the answer to that question, without getting into the details, is Livingston Taylor's book, Stage Performance. I buy 20 to 30 copies every year. I've got a stack of them in my office because we're coming into the holidays, and I give them out every year to anybody that I know that's trying to do what we do. Anybody, from dancers to comics to anybody.
So beautiful.
And I give them out, and I write in the inside cover, from Shawn to Linda, and then underneath it I write to, because you have to pay it forward, and I draw a line So everyone I hand that book to, I go, hey, look, I want you to read this, take notes, read it a second time and implement some stuff, and then gift it to somebody that you think, you know, because the ripple effect of a book like this and the experience that he has and the nuggets of knowledge that you can implement immediately into what you do, no matter what you do, no matter what art you want to share with people. I think his book is the single most profound, powerful thing I've been able to share with myself and other people.
Wow, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Game changer.
So I would like to get into what you're doing in Vegas. That is why my friend Lisa Ann told me about you. Would you mind? I'm going to leave it to you to talk about what you're doing on Wednesday nights, please.
Yeah, so this is rare. I think this is unique. The Virgin Resort Hotel, Casino, and Gambling Hall has this cool, really exceptional venue called the Shag Room. And the Shag Room is a modern take on the VIP back room at the original Studio 54. It's like where Madonna signed her record deal. It's this really cool place. Out of nowhere, I played their opening shows or whatever when they opened the Virgin a few months back. So I already had a connection with the people there. I don't know what made them think to call me, but I got a phone call that simply said, hey, how would you like to host an open mic in the Shag Room? And I said, no. I said, I'll host like the coolest open mic in the country in the Shag Room, but I'm not going to just host an open mic. This has to be full backline. I want drums, keyboards, bass, guitar, anything in it. Like I want a band to be able to show up here and play. And so that means I want to get sponsorship from Guitar Center, and I want Guitar Center to supply the equipment. We got that. We got Guitar Center. Fantastic, right? Then I said, we can't just have people show up here to perform for free. I want there to be incentive for people, which will raise the talent level for sure. So we started with, I want there to be a drink incentive. I want, if somebody shows up here to perform at this open mic, I want 2-for-1 drinks. They said yes. I want every night, every Wednesday, I want everybody that gets up on stage to be kind of thrown into a raffle. And every night I want the casino to give something away. Concert tickets, a staycation. Ladies and gentlemen, my wife.
Yay!
Ta-da!
Hi.
That's Jax.
Come here. We want to see her face.
Oh, she'll swing back around.
Okay. There she is. She's running.
My wife.
Hi.
I didn't even know this was
Hi,
happening.
baby. Yeah, surprise.
Ah, yay. Love does exist.
And then I started thinking about what the room looks like. And I said, I want to use this for 2 more things. So again, the end of the night, somebody every night wins either a staycation, which is kind of cool, get to stay at the Virgin for free, hang out at the pool, do all the stuff, concert tickets, et cetera, et cetera. More importantly, I want people to the 2 things. This was the bow that we wrapped on this. And again, it's amazing that Ian, the general manager there, and everybody at Virgin was cool with this. I go, I want to turn this into 2 things. One, I want the Wednesday nights to book the room. I want you to take some of these open mic performers and give them paid bookings in this room. So I want this to look like an audition for some people. So it's fun because I get to tell this to a room full of performers and say, hey, this isn't the average open mic. Don't suck.
Wow.
Tonight, if you're not ready to perform here, don't do it. Like, we want this to be a little bit better, a little bit cooler, a little bit more productive of an open mic than your average like coffee shop in Portland kind of open mic vibe. And so they said yes to all of the above. And so now they're going to start taking the talent that plays on Wednesday nights and booking them for paid performances in that room. And it's an exceptional room. So it's pretty cool. And then last but not least, which hasn't happened yet, the second thing that I want this room, this open mic thing to evolve into, which is I want the performers and the original material that's performed on Wednesdays to create a writing session on Sundays in that room. So you can come and perform original material on Wednesdays. And we don't know the logistics of it yet, but I want that to evolve into creating original material on Sundays. So that's the win-win. And that is not the average open mic.
No.
So that's what we're doing on Wednesdays. And last night was exceptional. Anybody who wants to see, I mean, TJ Lavin showed up last night and played a couple of songs. TJ has a couple of TV shows on MTV and is a 3-time X Game champion, like next level dude, like crazy. Just showed up, signed up to sing at the open mic, got up, very unassuming, full room, you know, nobody, yeah, very, very cool. On top of probably 5 or 6 working professional musicians showed up last night at the open mic, which again, neither one of those things is normal.
No.
For an open mic.
No.
So it's pretty great. It's pretty great.
So comedians who have well-developed material are at a level where they're ready to get booked at the Virgin Resorts Hotel and Casino.
Yeah, yeah. It's an open mic. But I'll say this over and over and over again. I should probably put it on the back of my t-shirt. That just don't suck. Don't suck. It's not that open mic. You have to have your material down. We had somebody last night that apologized to me in a text message afterwards that said, I could read it to you. I'm going to read this to you because you asked.
Yes.
So this was a comic.
Okay.
We had a comedian show up. He had backing tracks and he has some stand up. He's got a bit in between the songs. Mm-hmm. And out of nowhere, he bombed at an open mic. It's tough to bomb at an open mic.
Yes.
Like he stepped on his balls. It was powerful. On top of everything, he opened the whole thing. He was the first. Yeah. So, hey, everybody, welcome and blah, blah, blah. And this is this guy and he's going to get up and this is going to be the coolest open mic ever because of people like this that are, you know, and then it just imploded.
My goodness.
He goes, last night was a really fun time, even though I was ill prepared.
Whoa.
I can't excuse that. I've been thinking too proudly that I didn't need practice and I was obviously wrong.
Whoa.
So I wrote back, you know, we've all been there, brother, with a Hakuna Matata, no worries, you know, thing. Like we've all been there, but he really did. He totally stepped on his balls last night. And so any comics that are watching this that want to come out to the Virgin thing, I got to tell you, if you're just going to get up there and tell, you know, knock jokes, don't do it. Just don't do it. Yeah. I hate to sound snobby. I don't want this to be a snobby thing. It's just, there's people there that are, you know, that are looking to go next level because of this place. And if we lower the standards a little bit or whatever, it'll just be, you know, that, and we don't want it to be that.
How many minutes does everybody get?
You know, we're playing that by ear right now. It's 5 or 10 minutes, depending on what the sign up looks like. So, I mean, 10 minutes for an open mic level comic is an eternity.
It's such a
and
great
so part of that
opportunity.
is leave it up to them. You know, if somebody's got a tight 3 minutes, you know, the average comic that's at this level has written material, has a tight 3 minutes. That's an eternity to a beginning comic.
Absolutely.
It's an eternity. So we let everybody know right now, we're either going to go 5 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on what the list looks like in the first 45 minutes. If all of a sudden there's 30 people signed up, we got to restrict everybody to 5 minutes. If it's a little light, which some nights, as we know, will be light, it's not going to be crazy busy all the time. First 2 weeks we've done it have been standing room only. It's been great.
Wow.
And so we've been able to give everybody 10 minutes and we've gone past, you know, we were supposed to be done at 11 o'clock last night. And I think the last person unplugged at 1:15 midnight.
Wow.
We went long last night. But it was, there was next level performances going on. Yeah.
People just show up, sign up, and if the list is available, they go up.
Yeah, yeah, there it is. Yeah, I have a T-shirt that has a QR code on it. And to sign up to get on the list, all you simply do is walk up with your phone and scan my T-shirt for the QR code. And it sends you to an email, and you just send your name and any information you want, and it puts you in the queue automatically.
Can you send me the QR code and I'll plug it to people?
Sure. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Okay, so what would you like to tell people if they would, now that they've gotten to know you a bit and seen your wife, your lovely wife and 3 dogs,
Yeah.
if people want to follow you on social media, and where can they see you perform besides Wednesdays at the Virgin?
So I think the best place to go is just my personal website, which is ShawnEiferman.com. Nobody knows how to spell that. Nobody knows how to pronounce Eiferman. You nailed it, by the way. Nailed it.
I'm a little German and a little Jewish, so I got
it. There it is. There it is. I guess I'm the same Hungarian. Eiferman is Hungarian. I haven't been Jewy since the 80s, but I bar mitzvahed and been to Israel and the whole 9 yards. Yeah, it's been a long time. Music has become my religion and my politics. Music covers all those bases. However, so Shawn Eiferman as a stage name is just awful. Shawn, people can spell Shawn S-H-A-U-N, S-E-A-N. I met a guy from South Africa that spelled it S-J-O-R-N-E. And then Eiferman is a shit show. So I've had enough people and that's not my opinion, that's my experience. People in Vegas come back for trade shows 3-4 times a year. And they're like, hey, we want to go see that. I think his name was Shawn, that guitar guy that we saw at the one place. And so out of nowhere, a handful of people, a handful of times were like, we knew we were coming back from Ohio to Vegas to see that Vegas guitar guy we saw last time. And we're so lucky, we're so happy that you're still playing here.
Wow.
And I heard that enough times and I go, maybe I should just go by that Vegas guitar guy.
Yes.
You can't misspell any of that unless you're, from Utah or something really bad. And so that Vegas guitar guy became like a little nickname or whatever, which is also the redirect for the website. So I'm just letting people know if they're watching this, and I mentioned a couple minutes ago, just go to ShawnEiferman.com, and they're like, well, how do you spell Shawn? And does Eiferman have an umlaut? I don't know what to do with Eiferman. You can also go to thatvegasguitarguy.com and it'll take you to my website. All of my social links are there. All of my music, for the most part, is free. Like, people don't buy music anymore, really. So to have that doesn't make sense. So I have I think my Spotify and or SoundCloud. There's ton of songs up there that you can listen to for free. And then more importantly, like you were saying, my schedule is updated and on that website 24/7. And it'll link to social if you guys want to keep in touch on the Facebook and Twitter, Twatter, MySpace, all that stuff. You can.
Oh my gosh, you're fabulous. I can't wait till next Wednesday when I show up and get to see you live, because I've got a funny feeling you are some performer.
Yeah.
So I'm looking
well, thank you.
forward.
And I appreciate you saying that. And man, I can't tell you the greatest example of what I've been talking about is Wednesday nights in regards to making about them. So I get to walk around with a wireless microphone in my back pocket. And Linda, I got to tell you, I have a very small role in the entertainment side of Wednesday nights. I sprinkle some, gasoline on the fires. Every once in a while I get to sit in with the performers. Sometimes there's a singer that doesn't have the music side, and that comes together. But on the Wednesday night thing, I'm just the kind of glue that keeps it all together. It really is about them. It's about somebody new, somebody different showing up every 5 to 10 minutes, which makes the show very unpredictable and fun. And you just never know what's going to happen next. I believe you're going to be there. I got asked yesterday if it's okay if they come do it. We're going to have belly dancers that want to come belly dance at an open mic. So, I mean, you just never, it's more of a variety show at that level.
Yes.
But I'm telling you, so I make it about them on the performer side. I want to make sure that they're the ones highlighted. This thing has nothing to do with me. And then the audience that's there, I want to make sure that they're included. I want to make sure that the open mic mentality, which is I'm going to wait for 45 minutes, play one song and then leave, does not happen. This is a supportive group of people. And I say that a couple times a night. I go, if you're just waiting around to, you know, play your one song and then leave, you're at the wrong open mic. I want this to be a community builder. I want you to network. I want you to meet other people. I want you to hang out in this room long after you've played, because you're going to meet people here and be entertained. It's also a spectator sport. And so far that culture has been receptive.
You know, people should come to an open mic and already know their material, not need to sit and stare at their phone and tear down the self-esteem of the performer.
Right.
That's wonderful. You're doing a great job. I'm so happy to be able to come and witness it myself. I'd have gotten there last night, but I found out too late.
No worries. Better late than
Awesome.
never. We'll see you next Wednesday.
I will be there. And thank you so much. What's your wife's first name again?
Jax, J-A-X.
J-A-X. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for sharing her with the world. I'll go share all this video post, and I'll type. I get feelings from you when you're talking, and I'll put those in writing and share it, and I'll send it to you and ask if you'll share it.
That's awesome.
Thank
Awesome.
you so much.
My hair okay, by the way?
What?
Everything's good? The set, lighting, my hair's okay, makeup?
Oh yeah, it's just you
can
nailed all that.
Feel free to fix a few things in post.
It was my pleasure and my honor to get to know you. Thank you so much, Shawn Eiferman.
Thank you so much. Right back at you, Linda.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.